What is going on, people? Welcome to today's video. Well, it's Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and here in retail, we're in quarter four now, which is usually going to be like, which is holiday time, in which people are starting to get ready for the holiday season. And Black Friday is Friday, and for the ones of you that don't work retail that are just so ready to shop on Black Friday, I'm sure you're going to look really forward to your shopping experience, even though I think Black Friday is kind of a dying thing. It's more like that thing called Cyber Monday now, but today I wanted to talk about this 4-game winning streak of the Denver Broncos and how what has changed in these past 4 games. You know what really has changed? Was we have a head coach who is a winner. A head coach who will do what it takes to win. A head coach who's not committed to nobody. That's number one. Number two, we're not constantly decimated with injuries like we were these last 5 years. And it was with that, Lauren Landau. See, Lauren Landau was just a terrible strength and conditioning coach. That under him, players were just constantly getting injured. And it was about 5 or 6 players a year. When that happens, it's something with the strength and conditioning coach. And it happens yearly. And then you have a head coach in Sean Payton who came in here, brought a winning mentality to this team. He holds players accountable. He's committed to players who are willing to do the job. And not only that, but his assistants too, his coordinators. I mean, I'm not saying we have the best offense in the NFL, but we have an offense that's just getting the job done. Our defense has turned it around since week 4. Our defense has just turned it around because they're putting more pressure on the quarterback. Our defensive backs are playing are playing better in coverage, and now our offense, we're not the turnover machine offense that we were, or an offense that just couldn't get no spark like we were last season. It has taken commitment. It's taken from our coaches, from our players, and it's taken it to the degree where you're going to perform. We're here to do our job, and we're here to win. And if you're going to be a detriment to this team, you're just not going to cut it here. I mean, remember, Vic Fangio, I'm not saying Rich Scangarello 4 years ago was such a great offensive coordinator, but when they put Drew Lock under center, Drew Lock played well. But then they fired him for Pat Shurmur, who just destroyed our offense. And he kept him there for 2 years thinking he was going to turn it around. In reality, he wasn't going to. And that eventually led to the end of Vic Fangio. And then Nathaniel Hackett clearly cannot manage a game. You clearly saw how last year we needed that. He was about to commit our offense was about to commit so many delay of games because he couldn't check the game clock. And we had the fans counting down the game clock, the play clock. And then he has to hire someone to he had to hire someone to come and help him with that. I'm like, that's something you should know as a head coach. And then he's a guy that didn't want to give up his play calling until he realized he was going absolutely nowhere. And he eventually, then he gives it to Clinton Kubiak, and it's not like that did any better. But, I mean, then he did finally get rid of Melvin Gordon, but the problem is why did we bring him back in the first place? That's the problem with this team. This team was just too committed. They were just past coaches like Vance Joseph, Vic Fangio, Nathaniel Hackett were just too committed to their scheme and the underperforming players that were just and which was becoming a detriment. And now Sean Payton, he did it in New Orleans for all those years. Look at 3 years under when they had a guy named Gary Gibbons as their defensive coordinator. He did so bad that he fired him and replaced him with Greg Williams. And what's the first thing Payton came and did here in Denver? He fired Lauren Landau. And their new, I know his name is like Dan Dalrymple or something like that. Our new strength and conditioning coach, he was with him in New Orleans. He's doing so, I mean, don't get me wrong, injuries are going to happen. But when it's multiple injuries, something's wrong. And Dalrymple is doing much more better of a job than Landau has done in his 5 years. So all I have to say is I like the commitment that Payton is bringing to this team. And with the rest of our schedule, it's not going to be easy. We got Cleveland and Detroit will be our 2 toughest games. And maybe the Chargers in LA because, we always seem to lose to them in LA. But besides that, I have faith that we could go 10-7 and at least make a playoff spot this year. It's all I would love to see this year is just the playoff spot. But let me know what you think. Do you love what Sean Payton has done? Or just let me know what you think in the comments section below.